Petra? Has it been 4 weeks or 5 weeks? 5? Rolling. Great. Okay, guys, I didn't want to do loads of videos about disability all in a row. As kind of inclusive as I want to be towards the disabled population, I feel like it's quite uninclusive of the viewers that are not necessarily disabled. And that said, I think something we all have in common at the moment is being in this lockdown, and it can be tough. Certainly, I think physically, I think mentally as well. And so that's exactly what I want to talk about today is mental health during this lockdown and 5 things in particular that I do, well, that I try and focus on to keep kind of a good level of mental health. And so take from these what you might. Maybe you have someone who is struggling in this lockdown. I wouldn't blame them, honestly, it's tough. Or you yourself are struggling, or a family member. If so, feel free to share the video with them to give them 5 tips on how to kind of stay mentally kind of in a good place during this kind of tough time. So without further ado, let's crack on with that. Actually, a little bit of background before we do. Let's roll the intro first though. So obviously, a bit of background. I'm in the UK at the moment. It's the 16th. It's the 23rd, 21st, it's of April. God, I'm losing track of time. I think we're in the 4th or 5th week, so it's tough. And I know some of you guys in different countries, maybe in France, Italy, it's been a lot longer for you guys, and it is tough. This is a really new experience for a lot of people, and I think there's no way that you can rehearse for it. There's no way you can really kind of be ready for it. There's no way that you can kind of practice for it or kind of know what to do in these kind of scenarios. So I think it is key to kind of help each other and stay on top of your mental health and physical health in scenarios like this. And I might do a physical one later in the week, if that's something that you guys would be interested in. But let's crack on with those five things. Number 1 on the list. Eating well. I think it can be really easy to eat kind of lazy in these kind of situations. Beans on toast, not that there's anything against beans on toast. There is definitely a place within the kind of meal schedule for beans on toast, but not every day. I think eating well, not only does it contribute to kind of a good immune system, getting your 5 a day, getting the vegetables, getting the fruit, strengthening that immune system, but also kind of mentally, I think it puts you in a really good place. Having all those kinds of vegetables, all those fresh fruits, all the minerals, I find personally it gives me a lot of mental clarity. I'm able to think clearer, I have more energy, I feel better, less sluggish, and I think that generally contributes to feeling better about myself. I also think food is one of the only things at the moment that we can really enjoy, we can get creative with. I've been spending a lot of time in the kitchen. I love cooking generally, but sometimes I don't have time. So I've been kind of getting my chef gloves on and making a couple of things. Welcome to Mexico, cooking quesadillas. Any more questions? Didn't think so. But yeah, like I said, if you guys are big in the kitchen, even if you're not, it is something at the moment that we can still, under this lockdown kind of environment, get creative with, have fun and create something tasty, hopefully. I mean, there are loads and loads of videos on YouTube of pretty much anything you could ever. I go for the Gordon Ramsay ones. I really like the way he cooks. And following on from that is water. Drinking enough water. Honestly, it can be so easy to just keep nailing cups of coffee, which is what I do a lot. And I only usually drink when I train because I'm sweating a lot, but I then forget how important it is to actually just drink generally throughout the day. So I do at the moment have been trying to finish 2 of these per day and then having water and drinks other than that. But like I've been reminded by my girlfriend many, many times, coffee is not a source of hydration. Sorry, I know. Number 2 is staying active, and I'm going to do a specific video on how I stay active and the importance of that and how you can do it later. But there have been a lot of links between positive mental health and physical exercise. So as much as possible, I try and get out there. We're still allowed in the UK a 1 hour a day run. So I'm at the park most days, getting my kind of 1 hour of exercise in, whether it be yoga, whether it be a run, skipping, just kind of a walk, whatever it is that you guys want to do, or you guys how you want to take that kind of once a day exercise. I think staying active really does contribute to kind of staying mentally in a good place. I mean, for me certainly anyway, I feel good, I feel refreshed once I've gone for a run. Also, getting outside if you can is great, even if, like I said, just for a walk, get that vitamin D, which has been again associated with having a kind of a good immune system. So again, really, really good for this kind of scenario in this time of, at this time. I also feel like getting out and getting for a walk or doing something physical when we're kind of stuck in these flats or in the houses, it can be a really good change of scenery, and B, it can kind of change and switch things up a little bit if you get stuck in a little rut of, eating and sitting on the sofa and sleeping all in the same kind of space. I think going out and just doing something physical, sweating, getting your heart rate up, it can, for me anyway, it really kind of gets me out of that rut. If I'm in a bad mood or if I'm feeling a little bit down, just kind of doing something physical, I find really kind of switches it up a bit. So give it a go, see what you guys think. On to number 3. Strong habits and routines. So for this one, again, it's to be interpreted in your own way, but I find that if, for example, you were someone who woke up early every day for work beforehand and went to bed early, keep that habit. If that's what you are used to and that's what you want to do, I think it's so easy to just sort of let all the days and evenings and everything just merge into one big blob. Also, I'd say if you did have a job and you are working from home, keeping that sort of 9 to 5 wake up, put your kind of whatever you'd wear to work. Don't kind of just sit in your pajamas and work. I mean, again, up to you. But getting that routine, getting that structure of, yes, you're in the same place, but it can still be a kind of work from home environment. Try not to, wear pajamas. I try not to wear pajamas all around the house all day, every day. Having said that, I do think it's important still to kind of keep the kind of weekday, weekend separation, because like I said, the days all merge into one another. It can be really hard to separate, especially if, like me, you don't have a kind of 9 to 5 job and you're not working from home. Having that separation between the week and the weekend and having that downtime, like I sleep in on a Sunday, I don't work out as much on the weekends. I try and get as kind of much productivity videos done during the week, so that the weekends I can kind of go for a walk, do some cooking, hang out, play some Xbox. I do also think that it's important to find your routine and what works for you, because like I said at the beginning, this is a really unique circumstance that a lot of us have found ourselves in, that, I don't think we've ever done anything similar. So your routine, and hopefully a lot of you by now, because it's been a few weeks into this lockdown, have found that routine, but find what works for you. And I think the first couple of weeks for me were finding, when I would go for a run, how long that took me, cooking at home, eating, can I go outside at this time, enjoying stuff and finding the little quirks of the routine within the lockdown, if you get what I'm trying to say. Find your routine, because it's going to be different to how it was when you were not locked down, I assume, unless you're just constantly locked down. Again, then you're probably more of an expert at this than me. Number 4 is a sleep and activity tracker. I've got this one called Whoop. I don't know if you guys can see it. There you go. I think it's great. It keeps down your calories, your activity, your heart strain, your sleep, loads of stuff. It's really interesting. And they've got loads of them online. There's Fitbits and iWatches, all these things that kind of can track everything. So linking this into mental health a little bit more and how to stay kind of in a good place, what I find is how this new routine, how these workouts, how this kind of sleeping habits, how this lockdown is affecting my recovery, my body generally, again, how my workouts are, but how the kind of sleep and recovery are, which really contribute to the mental health and feeling good about yourself. So again, guys, check that out if it's something that might interest you. Number 5, taking some you time. I think that is hugely important, whether it is nothing to do with what you're working or you're working out or your job or whatever it is, or something productive, or it's everything to do with all of those things. Just taking some time every day to do something that you want to do, whether that's playing Xbox, fencing against a pad, cooking, watching TV, reading, anything. Just take that time to yourself, because it is a difficult time, like we said, and I think it is important to give yourself that respite. Pastimes, hobbies, that's why they're called pastimes. Use them to pass the time. Take up something new. I started painting a self-portrait. What else have I been doing that's new? Reading. I don't read that much. I've been trying to read a little bit more. YouTube videos, trying to get back into this, trying to get back to creating a little bit more, because it's something that I never found time for before. Find those hobbies that you always said I never had time to do, or I used to do this a lot, but then life got in the way, and reignite them if you can, if that's something you want to do. And that is our 5, but I want to give you guys a couple of bonus ones, just things that I find quite helpful as well that I didn't want to include, but I also think get an honourable mention. Don't be afraid to break all and any of these rules. Like they say, rules are made to be broken, and that could not be more true in this circumstance. All of these are just suggestions and things that I find useful, and you need to find what works for you, because we're all different. We all live in different places. This is all affecting us in different ways, and it would be bad of me to tell you must follow all of these rules to have good mental health. You need to find what works for you, and you need to maybe pick and choose, or even if do the opposite of all of them. Don't have a routine, eat terribly, this, that, whatever, stay in your pajamas all day, never go for a run. If that's what makes you happy and that's what you want to do and that's how you feel most comfortable in yourself, you got to do that. You know your body better than anyone else, especially better than me talking to you through a camera in this little box. So listen to your body, not to me, but that is number 1. Actually, maybe that should have been top of the list. 1 is potentially staying away from social media. I think that there's a lot of hype and a lot of fear mongering and a lot of stress and anxiety that can come from social media, especially news channels, especially memes and people tweeting and all of that stuff, and especially the news app with all the kind of notifications that keep popping up with X amount of deaths, X amount of new cases. It can be stressful. And if you're someone that gets stressed by that or gets kind of anxious or anything like that, I would say maybe turn the notifications off and only check it once a day if that's something that helps you, or just be aware of it, maybe check it less. Because I know that buzzing of the app with all news, breaking news, X amount of new deaths, it's not a nice thing to kind of have constantly on your phone and in your face. So that's another tip. Don't be too hard on yourself. This is a difficult time, and it is okay to be down and to be not okay sometimes, and to feel a bit upset and a bit stressed and a bit anxious, because these are scary times, and maybe you have loved ones or you have an underlying health condition like myself. I have asthma, and it is terrifying, and I get that, and it is okay to be not okay, and I think that's really important to remember and not to beat yourself up about. And the very last one is enjoy the little things. A perfect example of this is that I have recently found out that at about 5 o'clock, I don't know if you can see that, we get a little bit of sun in the balcony. Wait a sec. We get that much sun for about half an hour, 40 minutes. And that's something that I never knew before until I spent 4 weeks at home. But again, like I said, enjoy the little things. And it is 5:06 now, so I think I'm gonna have a coffee out there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you found it helpful. Like I said, feel free to share it with loved ones, friends, if you think that they might benefit from this kind of thing. It's a tough time, and it's something that we should all kind of help and support each other through. That said, I'm gonna go enjoy the sun. See you guys next week.